everybody got it, so that I can make a motion that we can go move forward with it. Yeah, I thought you did it.
Time is now 7:30. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Village of Northfield Council meeting of September 25th, 2019. Draw a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Randy Hess,
Here.
Mr. Magistrelli.
Here.
Mr. Scherer,
Here.
Ms. Dombrowski. Here. Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Ms. Noab. Here. Mr. Boytish.
Here.
Mr. Bryan.
Here.
Mr. Wasowski is absent. Chief Zolgis.
Here.
Captain Semick.
Here.
Mr. Walters.
Here.
And I'm present.
Can we get the approval of the minutes, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Ms. Domzowski to approve the minutes of the September 11th, 2019 regular council meeting. Are there any comments, questions, or amendments? Hearing none, all in favor of approval?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Minutes are approved.
At this time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address us at this time? Yes, please sign in up at the podium, please. How you doing, Ms. Richards?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Make sure you press the silver button, please, on your mic. Sorry. Perfect.
Okay, my name is Vince Richards. I'm been living in the village for about 18 years, and I'm coming in from the council today to talk about the company that I represent, American National Insurance. Just want to give you some ideas. We get group discounts for employees. We got perks where if the village signs up, you get 10% off your auto insurance just by signing up. We also have some other ancillary products that the village can tap into. I want to pass one of these to each one, so you have a copy. With the products of the, that we have that can really benefit a group, there are group discounts, and I just want to see if the village, want to take a look at them and compare them to the benefits that you have here. Some of the benefits can be voluntary, paid for by the employees. The village can pay for all of them, or it can be a combination. So we have accident insurance, accident, death, and dismemberment, critical illness, dental insurance, short disability, long disability, life, and vision and dental. So I would like to see if this, fits within the village.
Thank you, Mr. Richards.
Thanks.
Anyone else in the audience have anything for us tonight?
Mayor, before we go on, can I ask Mr. Richards a question?
Absolutely.
Would you be available to come into a work session to talk with us more about this?
Absolutely.
What, any certain day or time or anything?
I'm pretty flexible. Just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Ms. Kramer?
Hello. Found it, sorry.
Thanks
Hi,
for your help,
Donna
Phil.
I'm Donna Kramer. I'm a resident of Northfield Village for 18 years now. I've lived in Ward B for the last 18 years. And I just have a few questions for Mr. Scherer. I did receive the letter that you posted out, filled out here, and I was just kind of curious as to
Could you
how you,
move your mic down a little bit? so you can
Sure.
hear? Thank you.
okay. So I was just kind of curious as to why, or how you think you can bring in these state-of-the-art parks, remodeling the pavilions, creating a new pavilion. And you also state in here that you're going to put in, brand new parking at, Huntington Park. Where do you plan on putting this parking?
Well, we could put parking, we could negotiate with Macedonia and put some parking over there on Huntington Road, or not Elm Street over there. We were talking about it before, and I wanted to get with the mayor over there and work on being able to get some more parking there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and where do you plan on getting all this extra money for a scoreboard, outdoor running or walking?
It's not all that much money for scoreboards and dugouts, but I think that people deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about the roads? I think we deserve.
I'm sorry?
I think, what about the 22 roads that we've had done and the upcoming roads that we've had done?
We had Houghton and Ledge done in the last couple of years.
We've had 22 roads done in the last couple of years. We still have a few in the last 5 years.
Is this a political debate right now?
No, I'm asking you a question.
Well,
What, you're planning
well,
on running for mayor, I
really-
wanna know what you think, why, do you think that we should continue with the roads? You said
I
that you're
really
going
believe
to.
we should continue with
Okay,
the roads,
so you're
absolutely, we should work on the curbs and the,
And that's all coming, correct? Is that in
I
place?
believe
correct?
so, we're surveying right now.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so that's already being in place, this is nothing new
Well,
that
we
you're
were
gonna do for us.
promising that 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, when Cranbrook was done, and we didn't do anything with that. We never worked on it,
Okay.
except now we're
Completely
working on
done.
it.
Anyway, let me get back to this here. So, when you say that you wanna beautify the city and you wanna put
Absolutely.
flowers up,
Absolutely.
do you think that is better infrastructure than our roads? Do you
I'm
think
not,
that
it's
is
a
much more
beautification, ma'am, it's beautification.
Okay, and that's just gonna come out of what? Honestly, when I'm reading all of what you have asked, where were you 2.5 years
You-
ago? You've been on council for 2.5 years ago, haven't you?
I was on council about 2 years and 2 months. I took over Mr. Doherty's.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, so it's 2 years, 2 months,
I actually was active in talking with the mayor about different things that he was making promises, even after I had lost the election on 4 years ago.
Okay, and did
And so-
you add anything to the budget or ask to have anything added to the budget for this
I'm sorry.
beautification in the last 2.5 years? Have you done anything to ask for anything for the budget? I don't think you've ever addressed Tricia.
Yeah, you see, ma'am, I go in and I talk to the mayor, I talk to him about different issues that we have, and I look to him because I was told when I first
That's
started
not the
this.
question, I asked if you asked Tricia to budget any money for this
No, I
beautification.
I never spoke with
Okay,
Tricia.
but it's important to you now.
Ma'am,
Very-
at one point, we did ask for $50,000 to be put into our budget for our parks.
Okay,
And it
we-
was put in for a year or two,
Mhm.
and now it's not there, but we have asked in the past, so yes.
I'm not worried about that, honestly, I'm really not, I think this village actually looks wonderful right now. We have done these buildings, I think looking at all the buildings that we've done.
Well, the beautification, I mentioned that because I've been talking to residents and I see people who take care of their flower beds, and I was thinking about making a committee where we have the residents have their own flower bed in the village and work on it. We come by and water it, and then they could do their flower bed.
When we have the roads done, I do notice that, like, if you ever walk the village, like, I've definitely
I do
noticed.
walk the
Oh,
village.
yeah, you did, that's right, I do remember, that was actually on, what day did I have that?
Isn't there a time limit?
I believe that happened to be on September 9th around 3 o'clock when you were out getting signatures, you walked right past my house and never stopped to introduce yourself. Now, you've been my ward council person, I've never met you. You say you speak for me, you do not speak for me. I've never seen you. This is not a debate. I'm just asking, what do you plan on doing us for as a mayor that the current mayor has not done? There's one major other question. Last one, wait, no, wait, you can answer after I'm done, I've only got 5 minutes, I've got one
Ma'am,
last
the
question.
5 minutes are up.
Okay. Brandon, would you like to go up?
Anyone else in the audience have anything for us tonight?
Very good.
Mrs. Ware?
You should know.
But don't stand on a chair, it's not safe.
We might spin around a little bit. I do have some questions for Keisha. You've been for Ward B council person for 2 years, 2 months, correct?
Yes,
And you've spoken to the residents in your Ward B area, correct?
yes, I have on many things, many issues.
You know what I find interesting about that? Is that everybody on my street, York Plaza, doesn't know who you are. People in
But neither do
apartments.
you actually, because
Oh, I don't?
you said something about, you made lies about me.
Oh, I have? Like what? What was the lies I made?
Well, I have them in my phone, and my phone's not here, but I sent them over to my attorney to.
Oh, you did? Why don't you express them instead of making a defamation of character? I want you to express
I would
exactly
like
what I
very
said.
much not to speak of this at this
Because
time.
you have
put
nothing.
something online that
You have
no
nothing.
clue. I'm sorry, ma'am.
You have nothing.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You have nothing.
You made a statement that was false.
What was the statement?
You tell me. Go on, make the statement again.
Okay, what was the statement? The fact that residents have come to me and thought I was Ward B council person because they didn't know who you were? Is that the statement?
I'm not real sure.
Because there is no statement.
That's not the statement. You made it. You said I wanted to be.
Well, I mean,
Mayor
if there's a
Pro Tem.
statement and it obviously it offended you, you would think that you would know what the statement was.
I sent it over to my attorney so he could
Oh,
send
your
you a-
attorney, okay. And when am I gonna hear from this attorney?
He'll write you a letter.
Oh, he'll write me a letter. Do you
Tell
know what
you
my
to cease and
address
desist.
is?
I'm not real sure where you live.
Okay, so how's he gonna write me a letter?
Well, your name is what again?
Well, you should know, because I wrote
Miss Ware, you wrote it on that piece of paper right there.
yeah, but you should know, since I wrote a statement about you that was false, you should know what my name is, right?
Your name is Ware, your last name is Ware.
Right? So you don't know what my first name is, but I'm a resident
Well,
and a
see, I
constituent
don't,
in your area.
I'm sorry, but you slandered me.
I
I
slandered
don't care
you.
to remember your name.
I slandered you. I think you did a good job of slandering yourself with the nice little videos you've been posting too. Do I get points? Do I give
I'm
you
sorry,
points? Do I give you
personal
points?
videos, my personal videos.
Your personal videos.
You did your research on it.
Oh, I did
all
my
I want is
research.
for people to have fun and laugh.
And laugh, but yet you could degrade women and make
I
fun
would
of Asian
never,
people.
no, I would never degrade them.
Right, Wong Kifi? You can
I
defame, you
never
can sit
would
there
degrade
and insult Asian people and women.
I would
And you
never,
think
I would
that's all
never
in fun?
insult Asian people or.
Okay,
or-
so you're wearing an Asian hat with glasses, sitting here talking like an Asian person in your videos.
I'm sorry.
And you're telling me I'm defaming
not
your
making fun of-
character?
This type of humor is nothing, this is 10 years old, it's Saturday Night
10 years,
Live.
actually, it's about 3 years old. That's what the videos say.
Okay, well, anyway, I like people to laugh and have a good time, it's not.
Right, but
nothing
you
to
like
harm
to
me.
sit there and talk about women being graded men on point
I
systems.
wouldn't.
That's funny? I find that actually insulting.
Well,
And you're
you
supposed
don't
to be
wanna take it out of-
representing my ward.
You would not wanna take that out of context, it was
How do
just
I not
fun.
take it out of context when you sit here and talk in your video about putting pieces of paper wrapped around a $20 bill so that women can see you've got a roll of cash in your pocket and that'll give you lots of points? That's out of context? Or is that what you said? I can pull the video up if you'd like. Is this how you want to represent?
No, when I
Northfield
come
Village?
to these meetings, I'm a very serious person.
It doesn't matter. Outside of this building, you still represent Northfield Village. Everything you do
I appreciate
represents
your
this
input.
village.
Is she finished?
I got a minute left. Just like the way you disrespect our police officers.
I-
You want to
I
become
would
a mayor, but you
disrespect
can't even
police
give them
officers. I
respect.
invoke my unalienable rights with our police officers.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
All they wanted
I
you
would-
to do was to stand right there. That's all they wanted you to do. You couldn't even give them the respect that they
Is this a
deserve.
witch hunt?
Is it a witch hunt?
Witch hunt, guys.
No, I'm asking you why you think you could represent Northfield Village and be this
Well,
kind of a
one
rude
thing is,
person
I
to people.
represent the people. I don't want anybody to have their unalienable rights violated. I would never want that. I never
So
want
you
to see.
think our police officers do that to people?
Listen, I have a friend who was going fishing one morning and he was detained. He was.
What does that have to do with the fact that you
It's
disrespected the
similar to me.
police
I did not
officers?
disrespect these officers.
Yes, you did.
I never did.
You absolutely did. These guys
Never did.
go to work every day not knowing if they're gonna be coming home or not.
5 minutes.
She can have mine.
She can't have yours. Can't do that. Can't do that.
Brad?
It can't be done.
Next person, please. Anyone?
Can't say anything.
Okay.
I'd like to make a point. My son-in-law is a police officer in Akron, and he's a beautiful person. I have the utmost respect for him, and I have the utmost respect for both of you. But if they posted the video of us on scene, and I meant no disrespect to you guys, and you know that. I did have to go for a month and a half of therapy to get my shoulder working back in the.
Oh, please.
But it was brought up, and I never want to disrespect any of you officers. A friend of mine was a deputy, and he just retired recently. So, respected any police ever. I just didn't feel, I was embarrassed at, the way I was treated on that scene when I was basically trying to protect my nephew. And one of the officers, I want to let you know, had made it, and my ex-sister-in-law had, and I'm speaking to you, when you spoke to one of you officers.
Mayor, can we stop this? 'Cause
Yeah.
This has now become a personal attack on the police department.
No, it's not
And we
actually.
never posted.
I wanted to let you know that somebody posted it,
Well, we did not. Okay?
and I just gotta say, she said that my
You better make your
nephew-
point pretty quick here,
Yeah.
Mr. Sheriff, please.
My nephew was the aggressive one, and I was just being an uncle, and you guys came over here and you re-spoke her words back to her and said, so the uncle is the aggressive one here. And I was like, when I seen the video, I was shocked.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Thank you very
We're
much.
gonna move on. Reports to municipal officers. The mayor would like to say that we did meet with the Zandura group was it last week, Brad?
Yes, sir.
And, they talked to us about the property on top of Kennedy. They'd like to come to a planning commission meeting, so I'd like to set something up for that. Alan?
16th of October. Are they submitting something, or is this an informal meeting?
They will be submitting.
Okay, so we'll set that date after they've submitted by the deadline, just so that we can tentatively hold it, and it's a help date anyway.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they're aware of the deadline.
What time?
7:30.
7:30. It'll be October 16th.
16th of October.
Yep.
16th of October, 7:30.
And that concludes my reports. Financial Commissioner Gracia.
I just have one piece of legislation on this evening, which is amendment to the open super blanket purchase orders. The amendments are in the most right column and highlighted. Hopefully that came through in everybody's packets. They were in your box. So it's slight adjustment to Ohio Edison, which is a utility, the Toshiba Financial Services copier leases for the administrative offices and the service department, Levinson's uniforms, and I think the Levinson's was to include Michael Ott. I'm not positive. Was he Shuttler's? Okay. There was an amendment for some purpose. and then, BEI's land and building supplies. Also, Rita notified me yesterday that there were approximately 838 administrative subpoenas that were mailed to taxpayers that were either non-filing or some issue with their 2018 income tax filings. So heads up, in case you get phone calls, the subpoena program will be held here. I think the date is yet to be determined, but I will let you know. And that concludes my report. Yes, Mr.
Can I
Coach?
ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Where is that located on the three reports?
That's
It's in your
the,
packet.
that's the June, July, and August, checks that Finance Committee reviewed this evening. The legislation is in your council packet with the report attached, the exhibit, okay?
Do we have open blankets now, right, up to a certain limit?
Yes.
Do we have like $5,000 limit or something like that?
You guys have all approved the limits, and they are listed for the full year total, which is the second most right column, or second to last right column.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Does that conclude your report? Tricia, does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does, thank you.
Mr. Wasowski, engineer, is not present. He will be at our next regularly scheduled council meeting. Moving on to the law director, Mr. Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few items. There was an additional $15,000 that was necessary for some additional paving at the Houghton Road project that council needs to authorize. The savings will be more than that with the lower bid we received for the lower portion of Houghton, so that those funds will be made up, but we need a motion to authorize up to an additional $15,000.
Motion. Second.
Who's the contractor? Jason?
Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio. Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, second, Mr. Zelski, Mr. Hips. Any questions or comments during the motion? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, next, we have the August 2019 Mayor's Court monthly dispersal report for approval. Total to be dispersed $15,243.45. Total due to the state, $1,713.50. Total due to the Stowe Municipal Court, 0. Total due to the City of Stowe, $52.50. Total dispersed for restitution, $79. Total due to the village, $13,398.45. Is there a motion for acceptance?
Motion.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Ms. Domzalski. Any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? And the last matter is, we appointed Officer Michael Ott at the last council meeting. He was brought on as a lateral transfer from the Summit County Sheriff's Department due to some miscommunication by Chief Zolgis and I. In the legislation, it was not clarified that he would be coming in as a lateral transfer and would be put on the village's vacation schedule commensurate with his years of full-time police experience and be able to be eligible to receive holidays that come up in the first 6 months of employment. So if someone make a motion to make that correction and authorize that.
Motion.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Ms. Domzalski. Any questions?
Was this the gentleman that was in the jail?
Correct, yes it was.
How long was he there?
7 years.
That's how it's sold.
Yes, it does. 7 years, so we just like that time to be able to carry over.
People we hired.
All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, motion's adopted. That's all I have.
Moving on to department heads, Police Chief John Zolgis.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I did email a copy of the report for August to everyone. I also emailed the quote for the last camera people, which I thought wasn't bad. I was expecting it to be worse, just because of what we're requiring of them to install and what we would be requiring. They would like to set up, they're able to set up like a little demonstration or presentation before the next council meeting. I told them to keep it at about a half hour, so if council would like to entertain them at the next council meeting.
Chief,
Yeah.
could we have the other two companies present also? They're less money and they have the same analytical.
No, they do not. They don't, neither one
I
of
talked
those,
to him personally.
those companies do not have, where do you see the quotes, the analytical side?
He
of it?
said that he had the analytical stuff where you could punch in a computer, red shirt, green pants. He said that they
Who
had
did?
all that stuff. Oh my goodness. His name, I believe, was Dennis on the one, and the other one called me back afterwards. His name offhand is, I could look on this quote here. But I think I'd like to have them have an opportunity to come in, because they're less money, and they claim to have the same equipment in their hard drive. The hard drive is similar to the hard drive you were speaking of with the pamphlet company, the one that gave us the pamphlet. So I would really love to have other companies come too.
Okay, they didn't include that in the quote, or they didn't mention anything about that.
No, he said it's built into the computer. I would love to see them
What
come in
computer?
too and give them a chance.
What, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, what computer though? I don't see it.
The computer that operates the cameras where you do your analytical.
That's a whole separate program, and
So that's
It's
why
on the server.
that's why we need them to come to the work session.
That's-
so
that's-
they could-
I can call
so they
them.
could-
if they're
I
available. for
really
now-
want them to come too because
Could you have
because
them
they're less
adjust
money.
this quote to include that,
I can, yeah.
so that we're comparing apples to apples on quotes?
That's what they told me on the phone.
Can we put this into a work session, maybe fire and
That's
safety
probably
if possible?
Probably a better idea, because it'll take more time than for council.
Right, I think that we should have apples to apples quotes though.
That's fine with me, like I said, in the stuff that they had given me, the quotes,
It's not included.
there was nothing, there was no mention that they could do anything
Right.
like that.
So we
This
didn't
company
vote
just
no.
volunteered, this is what we do, so that's why the quote came out like it did.
Right.
So, but yeah, I will get a hold of them, and
You didn't care to ask them that they could do that have the same technology?
no, because I met with them first.
And they didn't volunteer that to you?
They did
weren't
not.
selling them?
No, they did not, because it's not in the quote.
Did Chief,
Chief.
about all that?
Chief Zogas, before we go on any further, we know this is your preferred vendor.
Right.
It seems like Mr. Shear had talked to someone.
I
Can you get
know
with
their names
this
over
other
here.
company, see what we can put together, give me a call, I'll call council, we'll set up a work session.
Yeah, I
I
can go
think that's better
ahead,
than throwing this all around.
right, I could go ahead and give them
Mike
each
Lewis.
a copy of this quote.
And Dennis
tell them-
Sukowski.
Okay, I'm speaking.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention.
I can give them a copy of this quote and ask them, give us a comparable quote.
Right, and then
That's
you can
fine.
call me, and I can call council.
And then that will
Be
be.
careful on that, so you're not shopping their number.
Because it's-
Only pass along the specs.
Yeah,
Don't
I can,
pass along
yeah,
the-
I'll write all the pricing.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll do that. We can do it, and then I can call Mr. Magistrelli, and I can call Ms. Noack. And she can get in touch with everybody, we can set up a time.
Very good.
Okay. And then also, Ms. Noack will make a motion for this, to get rid of some equipment and to put some on deals to sell. And that's all I have.
Ms. Noack, you wanna do that now?
Sure, thank you very much. Council has all received a list that was requested to the chief of the items that he would like to put on Gov Deals, which is the 2016 Ford Utility Vehicle Rear Seats, 2019 Chevy Tahoe Rear Seats, 2017 Ford Utility Vehicle Rear Seats Half Seat, and a circa 2003 Police Pedal Bicycle not used since 2005. it is not in compliance for them to use any further. He would like to put those on GovDeal, and the other ones that he would just like to throw out are, the window bars from a 2013 Ford Police Interceptor Taurus, 2016 Prisoner Cage and Pieces, window bars for 2016 Ford Utility Vehicle, a desk hutch, old and wobbly, file drawer coming apart, and 2 desks, numbers 4, 5, and 6 are old prior to 2003, excuse me. So I'd like to move that we accept this and we go forward with clearing house.
I'll second your motion.
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Ms. Domzalski. Any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Is that complete report?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
Moving on to Fire Chief, who is not present, we have Captain Joe Zemek in his place. Joe, you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is Chief Bus will be out of town until next Wednesday, October 2nd. He will be available by email or text. Otherwise, anybody needs anything, contact myself.
How is the install going in the base?
Our exhaust system is in and completed. Works great. So it's nice to have.
Which one did you get?
Magnet grip. So we've had no problems with it. Everything seems to be running smoothly. So we're happy with it.
How is the morale down there with, the new building going around?
Well, that's good. Everybody is looking forward to the new building, so everybody's pretty excited.
No more vehicles parked outside, right?
That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
Maybe keep down the maintenance costs.
Okay. Moving on to Service Building Superintendent, Mr. Walters.
Mayor, before we go any further, I'd like to make a couple of statements, if I may.
Absolutely.
Last Tuesday, well, actually our last council meeting, Chief Buss had stated that the guys will be out in Macedonia training on the next 3 consecutive Tuesdays. Fortunately, their training scenarios and the situation and the location that they were training happens to be in my full-time city. And I did get the opportunity to go there and watch them during one of my lunch hours, and very impressed, very highly impressed. The guys are doing a great job. I did not see anyone even second guess about going in on the amount of fire that was there when they were going in. They did a great job.
Sanitary?
Yes, sir. If you relay
That's
that to the guys.
very good to hear.
It was great.
Yeah.
Great
Everybody
to
did
hear.
great job. Very proud
I
of
do
them.
have some pictures also.
Awesome.
Okay. Now Service Building Superintendent, Mr. Walters.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Couple things. Houghton Road, first phase is near completion. We do have to put retaining wall up for one of the properties that the elevation has changed so much that we're gonna have to hold the banks in. And then it also near Houghton Road near the park, we have the same type of situation. So Rich is, I believe he's come to a decision on what we're gonna put. It sounds like a boulder wall on the one and one of these uniblock type walls on the other. Other than that, we really don't have much left there, and then we'll go into second phase, which the company is Carvo. I believe we mentioned that already, and they will be coming in around October 2nd is their hopeful date. Once they get in, they'll have to grind, mill the road. Once milled, we want paving. So I would anticipate it shouldn't take too long, but hopefully no more than a few weeks. But we'll know better if they make that date that they're hoping, beginning of October. The Washington storm system that we budgeted for is complete. Went real well. I think that safety issues we had down there. All we do now is monitor it and see. We did come quite a bit under budget on that, so that we were fortunate there. The crack fill program has started. We started at the beginning of this week, so the guys are out addressing the crack issues. They started with the patch areas that we had done. So hopefully we have that done in about 2 weeks. Other than that, I have, well, Jim.
We would also like to request a motion to list the 1999 Leaf machine as well as the 2008 Ford F-350 on road wheels.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Wojcik, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. Any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? The motion is adopted.
Other than that, I really have nothing else to report.
Okay,
Can I ask you a question?
absolutely.
Did we change the elevation of Houghton Road? Did we need to, put these in there?
Almost a foot,
A foot?
yeah.
Wow. Okay,
We reduced it by about a foot.
wow. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Walters, I know we got rain right after that Washington job you did, and the next day they got hit pretty hard, and I took a ride down there. If we don't have any erosion problem or settling problem, great job. The mayor and I were there 2 days watching our service department work with the contractor, and it's my work, it's my industry, and I just wanna commend you guys and the contractor, the speed, the quality, and boy, they got rain right after it and it worked. I just wanna thank you for that.
Thank you.
We only had that was a long wait.
Yeah, we got,
Thank you
I
very
think
much.
she's waiting 40 years, she said.
Jason, just for the residents' sake, I'd kind of like you to explain what's going on with the playground equipment at Smith Park, please.
As far as.
As far as where we're at and where we're
Well,
planning to
we've been
go.
looking to at least, we're gonna make the repairs on the wood parts. We did determine that the wood parts that are rotted at the bottom, they're not structural, but we are gonna repair them. And then we've been talking to contractors for repainting. Typically, we've repainted in-house, but we're looking at probably have it blasted and then painted until there's a work session or work committee and it is properly budgeted for to do something other than that for the park. So, I would say, the company that I'm dealing with now is Mr. T's. I have asked a few contractors. I thought Rhino Lining, the company within the town, but they said they couldn't guarantee it or they wouldn't really want to put their product on that. So that was hoping for just longevity. But my biggest concern with that is just, like I said, if we're gonna replace it, that's fine. It's just that the equipment that's there is rather large. I mean, it's a big piece of equipment. And today, I don't know that we can get in and replace it. So when we look at this, we wanna try to we don't want to put something in there and then all of a sudden it just doesn't look like you have much there. So that's something you might wanna keep in mind. Just, I know that many of the kids do love that thing, and then I know that there's complaints of the, way it looks, things like this, but, in the end, what we, come up with in budget, and, my suggestion would be to get with these playground contractors and come up with something that kinda has that wow factor for the kids still. Cause that one does, I mean, it's just a matter of fact, you take that thing down and put up some middle school type equipment, it's just not gonna even look right. So the other thing, the mayor has mentioned to us a few times about, the pavilion as far as the kids, you know, they ruined the softening that we put under for, you know, as a ceiling in there, which was initially open, but the problem was with the birds. Tried a few different things, couldn't keep the birds out. We did soften it. It's lasted a few years, but I mean, I'm assuming kids, they like to, you know, whether they throw balls up at it or baseball bats or whatever the heck happens, you know, it is, you know. So we've now decided we're gonna T111 it and then put a T111 siding, a wood siding, and then we're gonna seal the wood in like a clear. And durable wise, it should be better, but we still have to probably deal with if they wanna paint it up or whatever.
Is it built with trusses, like house trusses, or is it built with external chemical?
It's not stick, it's trussed.
But the kind that you put on decking, you know what I'm saying, that the truss boards are on outside buildings usually.
They're not treated timber.
What did you call that?
They're not
They're not treated.
They're not treated?
No.
Okay.
They're not pressure treated.
Because I was thinking if they were treated, we could just leave them natural.
The concern of the birds roosting in the truss network itself, as he explained previously. He's looking to close off the entire area so there's no place for birds to roost and looking for something more durable that will last longer.
Well, here's the thing, I was just thinking that like some of the open air pavilions, when they roost, you just kick them out, you know?
I tried that. They didn't listen to me. Believe that, Keith? They didn't listen. I couldn't intimidate them or nothing. They basically, I think, started dropping more. So I'm getting old. I don't know what to tell you. But, I mean, Keith, if you talk about like the open air truss where they're,
Yeah.
you're building like a timber that's
Yeah.
incorporated into the planking
Yeah.
to where there's nowhere for them to roost. We don't have that. We have actual truss. So we softened it all, which worked well for a while, but you know, I haven't caught kids. I'm pretty sure I could work on that one if we did. You know, the officers look to try to catch them, but as soon as you see headlights coming up in that, you know, it's not happening in the daylight. It's happening at night. So maybe when one of the camera people come up with a system that we can afford, we might. But that's the deal. I mean, I know officers have sat up there trying to get them, and we've tried a few different things. But I mean, the fact of the matter is if we go this route, I believe it'll at least combat busting it up. You know, I don't know. You probably don't realize how much graffiti remover and everything else we use up there. And a lot of times, you probably wouldn't even see it, but I mean, just Sharpies, you know, that sit up there and write things that, you know, a lot of families wouldn't want to read. So it's a constant battle of keeping these parks up. But and it's the same with the playground equipment. But it's no matter what we put up, no matter what we do, you're always gonna have to maintain these things, and then before you know it, you're gonna wake up and this stuff's gonna be out of date. Just kinda like our roads, it's a vicious cycle. So, I think that honestly, the piece that's up there now will not buy anything today that's built like that, you know, structurally. I go up there, I was just up on every part of that thing, it doesn't move. And I know that we don't have any kids quite like me up there. So, I'm just saying, the stuff today, to get something near that, I couldn't imagine the cost, and then, yeah, I don't know. But structurally, in my opinion, it's worth putting a little money into, as long as it's not outrageous, you know, so. There's a lot of different things that our parks can use and they need. you know, I remember the conversation about the $50,000, but I remember as we wanted to put that parking lot in when it was first came in as 50, we did get the parking lot in. We're not quite finished with all the cosmetics of it, but I think it looks a hell of a lot better up there. And once we get the fence up and then we get all the landscaping done, I think that's gonna look really good. And we do put money in the parks, so I think that what's gonna have to happen if you really wanna make some big changes, you're gonna have to come up with a bigger, better plan and really research some products that you want or something like this. But it's not something that you can just say, hey, I want a dollar amount for it, and then, hey, go find something.
We need a 5-10 year plan for parks.
Well, I mean, the thing of it is I hear like a dollar amount, and then it sounds like here's 50,000, go find something. I think that we wanna put a plan together, and that's what we need to do. Yes, sir.
You know that, that one area next to my mom's house over there, is it possible we could maybe get the grade up over there and just use the basketball court? Because we do not use that that tennis court anymore, it's not being used at all.
It's
Like I said, when the time comes.
being used as like basketball here and there.
I'm saying on the opposite side where there's no hoops.
So on the closest side to your mother.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say bring the grade up?
Well, yeah, because it's every time, let's say when they do straighten out those fences, they lean over because there's nothing pushing on the opposite
Well,
side.
yeah, and you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we did look at replacing those fences several years ago, and the cost was. I think that yes, you can, but again, we need to put a plan together, and I know Mayor, he's had a wish to put a splash pad up there. That's something that he's been asking, we've been talking about. I mean,
For 2 years now.
there's been a pretty big expense for that. You don't understand what a splash pad is, right?
I seen them on Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice, but huge expense. So if you know, that's something you can consider, but again, it's gonna take council to get together, and then we have to budget the money, and so I don't have any problem. Give it to me, we'll get it done. It's just, I don't like to get figures of a certain dollar amount and then go see what you can find. That's how I portray that. And, you know, we did plan that part when Councilman Boytush brought that up. It did take us 2 years, but we got it done. And sometimes things just don't happen overnight. So I think if we can all work together, we'll get things done. I don't have any problem with any of it, but I can assure you for us, you know, I don't know what we're gonna wake up to tomorrow and what calls we have, and then, you know, that's how the work kinda goes. First you get done with emergencies come up, and then you go back to this. So maintaining all this, there's a lot more here in this small town than people realize. And I think that, you know, we look good. I'm a long-term resident here. I mean, I grew up here, so we're looking good. It's just everybody get together and figure out what you wanna do up there.
Jay,
Yeah.
I just wanna add, as, you know, kind of spokesperson a little bit for the committee, I think too, what I want council to make sure they understand and remember is that those types of projects are what make our budget look so big, because so many different categories fall under service. And, you know, we get a lot of kickback in there, you know, you'll hear, why is the service budget so huge, and why is this? And I think people don't realize how many different projects fall in our budget. So then when it comes budget season and they're like, well, what's service gonna cut? I can't keep cutting things out of my budget if we wanna add park things and make splash pads and do roads. I can't keep cutting our budget. And so that's just something that's really important to remember. And at budget time, we did discuss putting together plans, like a wish list. What would we love to see? And what, you know, as we work through it, like, oh, that's just not gonna happen, or that's a possibility, or, you know, we could do this now. So I think that's just something I ask that everyone keeps in mind, you know, those types of things are what make our budget season look so huge. I mean, we can do it, but I can't take a vehicle out, you know, from our leaf program or, you know, another piece of equipment or, you know, a new mower. I can't get rid of those types of things to cut my budget for a splash pad. So that's something that I just ask you to keep in mind.
Excuse me, what would it take just to get the fences, footings down into the ground when they're not out, you know, foot?
So we looked at just repairing. We got an estimate and that was roughly, 10, 11 years ago, maybe 9, I can't remember. It was $21,000 to fix and repair the fencing that you're referring to. Just repair it. And that would, basically using that material, kind of redoing everything and sinking everything back in. You're basically taking it all down, using the material, and then reinstalling it, if you understand what I mean. And I agree, you know, a lot of our fencing hasn't been completely replaced in a long time, but some has. Fencing's expensive. So it comes around to where, hey, when it comes to the budget time, and that's a great point, Jen, because we do kind of get, you know, everything kind of falls under our budget. So I mean, it's a matter of what everybody wants done. But your roads don't get done, and I can guarantee you the residents won't be excited. So it's a matter of what you want to do.
Just to add on to this, that as we are looking to make plans and go forward, that it's great to have a wish list. Everybody here has a wish list. We can all wish for a 10-car garage and a Ferrari in every way. Wouldn't that be great? Let's think about getting the wish list to something that we can afford, or look for a manner in which to afford. Let's go out and look for grants. Let's go out and look for that. That if you're making the wish list and you're presenting it to everybody, let's figure out how to afford that. That's the biggest thing that really irritates me, is that everybody wants and wants and wants and wants. Nobody wants to spend the time to figure out how to afford it. I think that piggybacks off of what Jen's saying. If you want it, figure out how to afford it.
And just for me to come back in on that as well, is Trish has been asking us for how long, 5-year plan. 5-year plans, when you have a vision, you have something to work on. You can't do it when you're sitting down to do your budget that particular year. You've got your 5-year plan, then you have something that you have a goal to work for, but you can't do it in that 1 year.
Which Trish is already needing our budget. Like, it's already, so, I don't know if everybody realizes the budget don't happen, December.
No.
So, these are things, if you're looking for the next year, there should have already been committee meetings and everything else, because we have to have it. And we did submit a lot of the 5-year, now there's a ton cut out for this budget that, you know, we'll probably reintroduce for the next, but the budget's already nearly due as far as for Tricia to look at.
Do you remember when that playground was all natural, Jason? It was pretty much
When it was monkey bars and swing sets?
and there was no fencing and that kind of thing.
No, it's been fenced in my time.
Okay, well, I remember back in that day, and everything was up, and then they
When
cut
we
it.
used to ice skate in there,
No, before ice skating.
I mean, your mother was my babysitter.
But what I was thinking is possible we could put that less expensive, put it back into a natural state with maybe.
So, if, no matter what we do, you can plan it, but if there is kids playing, and if I understand this right, back then, you know, your mom's house was aluminum sided, and the balls used to bounce off that side of the house and everything else, and it was to contain and to keep kids from going in yards and things like that. Lawfully, we really do have to enclose
The basketball court.
any of that.
Yeah.
So, it's just a matter of looking into the laws and the insurances and things. There's a lot more to this than just like even ours. So, insurance wise, we have to see if we have a splash pad up there, there's a lot to that, so. We can do anything, Keith, as long as you get a plan together and, I don't have a problem with natural, I don't have a problem with splash pad, you know. Mary even talked about having a wish for a pond up there, until we really looked at some of the insurances and things like this, but.
I got one of those 6-foot unicorn sprinklers.
So, you know, I think that it's just a matter of, but again, just so everybody's aware, 2020's coming, and I haven't seen a committee on the playground that everybody's upset about.
I would love to be on that committee. I'm not, I just sit in on those meetings.
I thought you were on.
You are on it.
You are on it.
Wow.
Well, no, I was not on that committee before. I sat in on the last meeting we had. I was not.
You're on it, you're on the paper.
You just put me on it.
No.
No, you don't.
Oh my God.
Seriously?
Even I know that.
Committees, first goes from not knowing members' names to not knowing.
Can you refresh us on what committees he's on?
I'm pulling it right now.
All right, thank you.
It is part of your seat.
Well, how come we haven't called any meetings since?
Mayor,
Any councilman can call me.
This is,
He's Wong,
I'm in health and
Wong guy.
you're head of.
You're head of health and welfare, but you're also on other committees, and you're listed on
You're
the
on
committee
building and
as
grounds.
building and grounds. You've been on there for a year.
No,
This
I
came in January.
went to the meeting last time and I was told that I was advised.
No, you were not, sir. You're on the committee, you're on the list. That's published at the beginning of every year. I think you've been on there for 2 years, actually.
We actually, all of us actually went out to the playground and looked at all those boards.
Absolutely.
He doesn't even know what his ward is.
Walk right past my house.
Well, we
He
haven't
also
had
has
any
businesses.
We had a meeting, we discussed. it.
Any
We went
council
out.
person can call the meeting, any
I was
council
at the
person.
meeting. whether
So
I
if
was
you'd
on-
like, excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'm talking. If any council person would like to call a meeting at any time, you can do so. You can call one right now if you want one on the parks.
It would be nice if we
Okay,
did before the.
let's do one then. What do you want to talk
Do
about?
something.
What do you want to talk about? So we can set a meeting and we can have that
Could
meeting.
include it in our budget, whatever plans.
Are you making the
Are
plans?
you making the plans? What's
You're
happening?
the boss of the building.
Are you making the plans? That's the question.
I'm not.
You're saying that you wanna come up with a budget to meet the plans. Is there a plan? Do you have the plan? Like I just said, stop making a wish list and hoping the money falls on it. Come up with a plan, come up with the money. We come up with a plan as the committee.
I thought that was
and
what
then-
we were doing in
Yeah.
our.
Great, we had a meeting, we all came up with some ideas, we were contacting the Ohio Forestry Service, and we were going to work from there to see what assistance we could get. The mayor has reached out to them, we're in the process of getting the wheels turning, it might not be a next year item. It might be to make the plan next year and get it budgeted for 2021, but it's a little hard right now to plan for next year and get something on the ground that's going to look like anything that Jason's talking about, that will replace what's there.
So you're saying.
Okay, hold on, I have to add, I just gotta add in my part, because, again, we catch, when I say we, I mean service, we catch so much heat at budget time, and there is meetings and emails and back and forth and trades and negotiations, and well, can we get rid of this and move that and don't do this, and well, what if I give you that, and it is a lot, and I don't think that everybody understands it all the time. I am down for whatever meeting that wants to be had, but I am going to tell you that it being October, this will not go in the budget for 2020. Because our budget has already began forming, and our budget has been forming for years upon years. So as we cut out A through G in 19's budget, those roll into 20's budget, and sometimes those get cut out again, and we gotta push those into 21. So the way it works is we add things to our list, and then we're constantly reprioritizing, and then prices change. So then we have to go back in and alter the price and change the priority of it again, and then some massive project has to be done immediately, so not everything gets bumped, and then this line item doesn't get as much money in because we have to move it, and it's a lot. So I am on board for any parks and, meeting, but I'm the kind of person where I like organization and non-wasted time. So what I am looking for to take it to my department is to say, here's their wish list items, here's the current cost of these items from this contractor, that place, this Tractor Supply, I mean, whatever. Do you think we can take any of these and squeeze them in now? And sometimes we can't, but those big things we have to plan for. And they're not gonna happen in 2020, because they're big, and we know they're big projects, but we've, like, they had said that they've reached out, and we're trying to find alternative ways to get some funds for that and some grants. So, by all means, if you wanna put the meeting together, I'm in. But I don't want you upset if I say I can't put this on my budget for 2020. It's just a lot.
Clearly, there's a lack of one to dedicate time to the planning of this. You don't wanna sit down and draw anything up, you don't wanna sit down and research grants, you don't wanna put in any effort other than show up to the meeting, make a wish list, and walk away. I suggest that for 2020, we budget funds to hire somebody that can come in and give us professional advice, to provide professional mapping and land development services. We can get a survey, we can program what we want in the park, then we can bite it off year by year by year, and we'll know.
We talked about.
Right, we did discuss that. We can discuss how much we want the budget for that. We can put out an RFP. It's a start. It gets us a plan. Then we're not following up what we did this year with what we're gonna do next year.
Okay,
But
so
what I'm saying is that if you're not willing to put in the effort, stop making the list until you come up with a way to pay for it.
That concludes your report.
That concludes my report.
Okay.
We're still on your
Another chair for go.
See,
All right, and now what are we doing on my budget?
Cemetery, we'll worry about it, you're right.
I'll be alright. Reloading.
You're gonna get you.
Joe's gonna catch you.
I have full faith in Joe.
Be surprised when the fireman's carriage you do though.
Joe, I'm here. We should after this council meeting put that to a test.
Run, Joe, run.
We'll see what fireman's carriage looks better.
We did get an insurance ticket tonight.
Workers' comp.
We can look in any extra coverage we need.
All right, moving on to reports from municipal boards and commissions. Mr. Hips of Planning Commission.
Other than the placeholder for October 16th, no report this evening.
Okay, Recreation Board, we're gonna meet October 3rd at 6 o'clock here at Council Chambers. We have a lot to discuss about next year. I know the Rec Board was looking forward to getting things started for an adult Easter egg hunt next year. So they're really excited about that, so we're gonna start plans for that. So, at nighttime, right?
Excuse me, didn't our meetings move to Wednesday?
Yeah.
You know what? I apologize. So it's gonna be the second.
October 2nd.
Yes. I apologize, thank you.
At 6:30?
6:30, yes.
Can you make this one, Tracy?
Yeah, if I get an email, nobody sent me
6:30,
an
we did change everything. I apologize. I apologize. I'm just having so much fun at this meeting, forgot the time.
Oh my God.
I can't even
Okay.
spell to put it in my calendar.
Okay, so, Wednesday, yes, at 6:30 here at Council Chambers. So we're gonna move on to the reports and standing committees. Mr. Magistralia, Finance.
Yes, we had a regular scheduled finance meeting this evening. I want to thank my committee. We had a lot of work to do. We did 2 months, 2.5 months. I want to thank Mr. Ingracia for having everything in order. And just making everything move smoothly. When we had that many to review, it should have taken us more time. And I just wanna thank you, Mr. Gracia, and thank my committee. Thank you. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Domzalski, Roads and Public Works.
I have no additional report this evening, Mayor.
Mr. Sheriff, Health and Welfare.
Yeah, we met, on Monday. We talked about a few issues. I took care of it with the residents. There's one resident that's out here in the audience that wanted to be able to put water in his house down and where he's about 400 foot away from the water line. And, we discussed that, well, anyway, Mayor, you basically told me that all he needs is a blueprint to submit to the engineering department at the water department, and I agreed with you. I did talk, Juan and I talked to an excavator guy, and he says that there'll be less resistance on the pipe if you use a 2-inch pipe to go all the way to your home. And the only thing is then he also said it had to be okay with Mr. Wysowski, along with the engineering department at the water company. So I want to go and talk to you about that situation, and we weren't around at the time. So what I was going to say is that maybe if you wanted to try to, the guy that I talked to said it would probably cost anywhere from $700 to $8,500 depending.
Okay, so Mayor had me look into this and had, Rich talk to the water department engineer. They won't allow a 2-inch line. They want the 8-inch line to come all the way down and be headed with a fire hydrant. Much different cost than a 2-inch line. I did request and had looked at a 2-inch line when I talked to Phil as well, and we can't do it. So you have to have a actual water main with a fire hydrant, and that's the issue. This issue's come up before and even before Phil. So it's a matter of actually putting an actual water main down that road. I'll be honest with you, the last time it came up was when we cut that road down. It was one of the first projects I did here 25 years ago. We cut the hill out of that. That was prior to Phil living there. There was a guy from the state that lived there. He wanted that water line, and if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the reasons he had left. But the village said for 2 residents, they couldn't afford to do that. The expense is much different than run a 2-inch copper line. Again, if that's something that you'd want to do, it's just a matter of budgeting for it, and being honest, that would come out of the sewer fund.
So you talked to the engineering department and they told you no way that you would allow a 2-inch line to run 400 feet off the road?
You have to run a water main. They want a water main.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm thinking.
2-inch line is not a water main. That's something you can come off an 8-inch line and bring into McDonald's. That's not, it's not, if once we ran the 8-inch line, you just have to run a 1-inch line into his house.
Right. The thing is according to the mayor, it's 300 grand.
You can't run,
You can't do that.
we can't.
Phil, you look like you're antsy over there, so.
I talked to the water department, they're wanting $1,000 a foot from the
Could you
main
speak
water.
into the microphone, Phil? Thank you.
I talked to the water department, and they want $1,000 a foot to put a 4-inch line in and they wanna put fire hydrants down there, at least one. And I can't afford it, and the city can't afford it. When you mentioned about a 1-inch line, I didn't think that was gonna work.
No, that's why I talked to the excavator guy and he told me 2 inches would be
Right,
good.
well, 2 inch, you can't do it. And plus, they want me to go past my house 60 feet in order with this new water line. Even though there's no houses that can be built there, they still want me to go 60 feet behind, past my house. So you're talking anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 for me to get water down to my house. And I ain't doing it. And I don't think the city should do it either. I'll just stay with the well water. There's nothing I can do. I knew about it when I bought the house, I shouldn't have bought the house.
Do you consider this issue dead now, Mr. Sheriff? Answered at least 3 times?
Like I said, I did speak with that fella, and he said that he puts lines in.
You
for
can't,
free.
Keith, you can't just talk to some excavator. Did you talk to Donnie?
No, I talked to another fella by the name of Graves.
Alright, but either way, you can't just, I mean, hell, I'll take a 2-inch line in.
I'll
Casey,
walk over to
I can
shovel and
use
do
a
it
shovel.
too. Casey, is there any possibility of tying into that first house that's on the corner?
They are on the water main.
They are on the main.
They are on the main. The first house is, the middle house is, and Phil's house is not.
Is there any way to tie
No.
into that?
No,
or
the only way you could do it is what we're talking about.
You'll take water
No.
pressure away
You'd
from
have-
Jim.
You'd have to
You
take
can't do that.
and run a 2-inch line up to that point, and then we can break it down maybe, and theoretically, it sounds like it would work, but the thing of it is what we think would work, and even if we plan it out and say, even if our engineer says, this would work, the water department says, no, you're gonna put a water main in, which is an 8-inch line.
I'm just trying to help with that and conclude my report.
Okay, thank you. Wage and working conditions, Mr. Whitefish.
No report, Dave.
Fire and safety, Ms. Noah.
Nothing further, Mayor.
Those to crown, Mr. Hibbs.
No report this evening.
Legislation, Mr. Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. First is 2019-64, an emergency resolution authorizing the approval and adoption of the 2018 Summit County Hazard Mitigation Plan. On first reading, the county has been bugging us to adopt the hazard mitigation plan. It's a 2018 plan, which is being adopted by Summit County communities.
I'd like to make a motion to
2019.
skip the 3 readings. Second.
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Mr. Voitish, and just to let everyone know, this is an every 5-year thing. We did approve it in 2014 to 2013 plan. If everyone wants to read it in detail, I'll be happy to give somebody a copy, but the county has worked on this and the experts have handled it, so. All in favor of the motion to suspend the 3 readings?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Second.
Motion to pass by Mr. Voitish, seconded by Ms. Noack. Any questions? All in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, resolution is adopted. Excuse me, next we have 2019-65, an emergency resolution amending the limits of established open blanket purchase orders on first reading.
I'd like to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Domzowski, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Second.
Motion to pass by Mr. Voitish, seconded by Ms. Domzowski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, that resolution is adopted. And last, we have 2019-66, emergency resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the fiscal officer on first reading. This is something we have to do every fall and send to the county fiscal officer.
Motion to suspend the 3 readings. Second.
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Mr. Voitish to suspend the 3 reading rule. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Second.
Motion to pass by Mr. Voitish, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? And that resolution is adopted, and that's it for legislation.
At this time, is there any old business, new business, or announcements?
Yes.
Mr. Sheriff.
I was putting a flyer out, and I put the word complicity, thinking that it was complacency. And I want to apologize and retract that word. I'm very sorry to anybody who if you felt that I was doing something to make, I'm very sorry that I put that down. It's complacency. I feel that sometimes we're just too complacent to get things going.
You do understand the definition of the word that you used in that letter?
Well,
It's defamation of character
yes,
of council
I
and the
do.
current administration.
Well, hold on a
It's
second.
a liable act to
I-
put it into
it's
public and
not.
distribute it through the
Mr.
village.
Sheriff,
Yeah.
I am
Mr.
telling you, I
Sheriff.
had no idea, and I'm apologizing, I had no
You
idea
do not
it
owe
came upon the
council an
computer.
apology, you need to distribute your
Excuse me
apology.
for 1 second, please do not talk over one another, please, one at a time. Go ahead, who's ever, go ahead, Mr. Sheriff. Go ahead.
I made my apology. I thought I was writing complacency. I did not know the definition correctly until you brought it to my attention yesterday, Mr. Hips. And then I looked, and I looked it up after you were saying, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? And I says, there, if you look at it in its context, you'll see what I'm talking about here on the flyer itself. It does not say anything criminal on my flyer, and I am apologizing. And that's it in a nutshell. I'm very sorry that I wrote the wrong word on my flyer.
The word itself infers criminal activity. You don't have to write it, you wrote the word, you inferred it, you distributed it to the village. That's
I didn't infer anything.
Listen, wait for me to
One
finish.
person at a time, please.
That's
Thank you.
defamation of character of council and the current administration by inferring that we're conspiring to do illegal activity. I don't care whether it was a spelling mistake or a sleight of hand, you need to distribute a retraction to the village and place it in all of the papers and news outlets and go on channel 5, 19, and 3 if you care.
I will
That is the
make sure
only way.
everybody
Well, I will
gets
accept
it.
your apology.
I will make sure that I write a statement and submit it to the 2 papers here. And retract that I really meant complacency.
Also in that letter, please include an apology to all the females of the village for your accusations of misconstruing of consent, whether it's no, please no, or
Yes.
no thank you.
Yes.
And please also extend an apology to the Asian community for your culture appropriation by wearing your Asian hat and horn-rimmed glasses and putting out on the internet your Juan Keefe information.
Yep.
So if you could please provide that in that as well. Thank you.
That was embarrassing.
It was insulting as well.
Okay, I have something I'd like to bring to the table. You know, all of you know that Mrs. Greenlee has passed, and I have been in contact with the family. I would like to meet with everyone on council to discuss naming of the pavilion to the Greenlee family. So, if we can put a date, time together, we can discuss this, I'd really appreciate it.
Mayor, in my eyes, I don't even need to discuss it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, then I'll let the family know.
Well, does someone want, you wanna make a motion then?
I'll
Mr.
make a
Richards?
motion.
I second it.
Seconded by Mr. Magistrale. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, motion's adopted.
I gotta say this, Juan Keefe, Juan Keefe is a character, it's a Saturday Night Live character, it has nothing to do with my position here on this bench.
Are you hired
It's
by
a
Saturday Night
character,
Live?
it's a character to make people laugh, it's not meant to harm anybody. They do it on TV all the time, I'm doing it on a shoestring budget, I was just trying to entertain my friends, and I don't even see how you got access to it because you're not my friend.
So
It's on
Justin Trudeau-
It's public information.
Justin Trudeau.
No.
Anybody?
Anyway, I'm not gonna
Right?
apologize to anybody for what I'm
Excuse me?
trying to have humor.
You're not gonna apologize?
Okay, you are definitely not mayor quality, I will exactly.
I'm
you
not
are
gonna
not
apologize.
mayor
to
quality.
people.
You are done. You have a nice life.
I would like for you to do it, just for the simple reason is you are representing our village.
That was something I did even before
It
I was
doesn't
on
make it,
council.
then you need to get it off of YouTube or whatever. My thing that I would like to bring today,
It's already too
is,
late.
Mayor,
That was my personal life.
I've got the mic right now, please.
Look at the president.
I would like for everybody, take a deep breath on this one, because I'm saying a thank you to Mr. Shaffron.
Okay.
I would like him to know on behalf, I'm sure, of all of us,
Me
how
too.
nice
That's beautiful.
it looks at the plaza to see that driveway and everything look fabulous.
Well, they're not done yet.
I know, but what a difference, and I want to let him know, thank you.
They're gonna be putting new signs up too, so that, we just gave approval for the sign at, the Summit Plaza. So, if you'd like to see what type of sign is gonna put, you stop down and visit, the building department, and I'll show you.
And then I just have one question, do we know when next month the date is for the sewer bills going up? Because I want to get the information in concerning the banners.
Please get it delivered this, in the next couple of days.
Okay,
it's
so Diane
getting
gets
to-
it out at the beginning
yes.
of October?
Yes.
All right, I'll get with her, thank you very much.
Can I add something? When it comes to the sewer, we talked about a few times, we need to do a committee. We never got anywhere with addressing the commercial end of sewer billing. Because our funds for sewers are, we need to address the commercial part. So if we can do a sewer, we gotta look at a few different options as far as how we can build the commercial end of things.
Can we do maybe a mini work session before our next meeting for this?
I would say what we need to do is contact Rich. I know Tricia got us some information. It's been a while, but there was never anything done since, so, we definitely need to, work on something there, so we get the, I would say that maybe next council meeting, we set the meeting. And I'll try to get with Rich, I'll get with, Tricia had, and then what I had, try to get something set for that meeting, at the next meeting. Okay. I just thought if we could try to get it done, or at least started for the 2020 season, that was the original goal, so.
I will get legislation and everything together. I'm gonna see when the Greeley family would like to be at our next meeting, or whenever they would like to do it. I'm gonna leave it up to them. But, I'd like to get them in here and get that thing made for, the Greenlee family. And OB and her family had many outings, many family reunions at that pavilion, so it'd be something special and meaningful to the family.
Mayor, on that note, kind of have an idea for that. If we can do it one evening for council, and I don't know if you guys like the idea, but why don't we have a plaque made for it? And instead of presenting the plaque here in council, let's present it at the pavilion. Yeah. And if Jason's okay with that, we just have him mount it right.
You're right on my
there.
wavelength, that's exactly what we were doing.
Great.
Right on my wavelength.
We got a stone.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you said mounted on what?
On the pavilion, if we made a plaque.
So the plaque though,
We'll be up to Rhode Island Rock.
we placed a big boulder there for it. So
Great.
we just finished it the other day, so.
Great, let's get that plaque.
All right.
Mayor, before we go any further, can I make I'd like to say we spend up to $500 for a plaque, bronze plaque or something, put on the stone?
I don't know how much it's gonna cost
I really
because,
don't.
because the amount of, writing that we wanna put on it, it's a decent sized plaque, and bronze plaque, pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know, I have Cornino looking at it right now. Did he get back with you, Jason, on that?
He's just investigating numbers, but I mean, so we can try to present them. I would just put a higher limit and, not to exceed it, but maybe like 2,000 and just.
It's in the mayor's, within the mayor's.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's
it's
gonna be
online.
under that, but we don't know exactly, and you definitely, we were looking at another option beside it, bronze, just so we had a couple, but, we're hoping to have it to where we can present it, but I think it's in the mayor's spending authority either way,
Yeah,
so I
it
mean,
is.
everybody agrees to
Yeah.
give
$1,000 for the mayor, and I'm all for it,
Okay.
100%.
We'll do it right, and we'll, have a ceremony and everything else, so, it'll be done right. Anyone have anything else tonight? Hearing none, do I hear adjournment?
I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Motion by Ms. Domzowski, is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Noack, all in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? We're adjourned at 8:54.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
I